What if you were suddenly asked to leave a country you've called home for years? No warning, no time to prepare, just a knock on the door or a message from immigration authorities telling you it's time to go. It's not just a hypothetical anymore. In 2025, the United States is witnessing a sharp rise in immigration enforcement, particularly targeting Indian nationals. According to recent figures released in March 2025, more than 7,000 Indian immigrants have already been deported or placed under removal proceedings within the first quarter of the year alone. That's a 70% increase compared to the same period last year. From airport interrogations and ICE detentions to visa status reviews and targeted crackdowns, Indian immigrants, students, tech workers, tourists, and even families are now facing the harsh realities of a tightening immigration system. So, what changed? The US immigration climate in 2025 is very different from what it was even a year ago. With new executive policies, reduced visa approvals, and enhanced monitoring of immigrant communities, many cities across America have begun aggressively enforcing immigration laws, some cooperating more closely with ICE, others conducting raids in collaboration with federal authorities. And the impact? Alarming. Indians, especially those on student, work, or visitor visas, are now finding themselves caught in the crossfire. Whether it's expired paperwork, minor overstays, or entanglements with unregulated consultancies, thousands are being forced to leave the country they worked hard to settle into. But let's be clear, this video isn't meant to create fear. Our goal is awareness, to shed light on what's happening, why it's happening, and where it's happening. Because knowing where the storm is brewing can help you stay safe, informed, and prepared. In this video, we're diving deep into 11 specific US cities where Indian immigrants are facing the highest risk of deportation or return orders in 2025, and we'll explain why each of these cities has become a hotspot for immigration action. Stick around. This might just be the most important information you hear today. To fully understand why Indian immigrants are being sent back from the US in 2025, we need to look at the bigger picture, starting with the current immigration climate. The immigration climate in the US, 2024 to 2025. The last 2 years have seen a dramatic shift in US immigration policy. While immigration reform was once a divisive political issue, the new administration in Washington has adopted a firm stance: secure the borders, regulate overstays, and streamline deportation processes. Under new executive directives introduced in late 2024, federal agencies like ICE, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, and USCIS, United States Citizenship and Immigration Services, have been granted more authority to review, flag, and act on any perceived immigration violations, no matter how minor. In early 2025, 2 major legislative changes reshaped the landscape. The Visa Accountability and Enforcement Act, which allowed for automatic tracking of visa holders and introduced harsh penalties for overstays. An executive order on employment visa compliance, aimed specifically at tightening scrutiny around H-1B and L-1 visa holders, particularly in the tech sector. These changes, while not targeting any single nationality outright, have disproportionately affected Indian immigrants, who make up one of the largest groups of skilled and student visa holders in the US. Why Indians are being targeted? Let's break down the major reasons. Visa overstays. Indians rank among the top 5 nationalities for visa overstays, particularly in categories like F1, students, H-1B, tech workers, and B1/B2, tourist/visitor, visas. A delayed renewal or missed deadline can now trigger an automatic notice to appear in immigration court. Fake universities and student visa crackdowns. Scams involving fake universities have led to hundreds of Indian students being unknowingly caught in illegal sit-ups. The infamous cases of University of Farmington and similar operations triggered a nationwide review of F1 visa holders from South Asia. Asylum applications gone wrong. There's been a rise in asylum applications from Indian nationals, many claiming political or religious persecution. Unfortunately, a large portion of these are rejected due to inconsistent narratives or weak documentation, leading to deportation proceedings. Increased scrutiny of H-1B and L-1 visas. Tech layoffs in 2024 pushed thousands of H-1B visa holders into legal limbo. Without new sponsors, many are now considered out of status, and ICE has intensified investigations into companies accused of benching workers or role of local governments and ICE. What's made this crackdown even more impactful is the role of local governments. Certain cities have openly collaborated with ICE, allowing data sharing, raids, and detentions. These cities are not sanctuary cities, and they often enforce federal immigration rules more aggressively. On the other hand, sanctuary cities like San Francisco, New York, or Seattle typically restrict cooperation with ICE, creating some level of legal buffer for immigrants. But in 2025, even those areas are seeing pressure to fall in line due to funding threats and federal audits. Now let's zoom in on the 11 cities where Indian immigrants are currently at the highest risk of deportation or legal trouble. City by city Bauer e Ekdeon. 11. San Jose, California. San Jose, often called the heart of Silicon Valley, has long been home to a thriving Indian tech community. From software engineers to entrepreneurs, thousands of Indians have found a second home in this city. But in 2025, the scenario has drastically changed. The massive tech layoffs that began in late 2024 hit the H-1B visa holders hard. With limited grace periods and a sluggish hiring environment, many couldn't find a new job in time to maintain their visa status. The result? Over 1,200 Indian nationals in San Jose are now facing immigration proceedings, with ICE reportedly increasing workplace visits and document checks. There have also been reports of tech employees being detained for visa violations that went unnoticed for months. Despite protests from local advocacy groups and tech unions, enforcement continues. Some Indian families have left voluntarily to avoid blacklisting, while others are fighting legal battles to stay. 10. Irving, Texas. Once considered a safe haven for immigrant families, Irving has experienced a noticeable shift in 2025. Home to a large and vibrant South Asian community, the city has come under scrutiny following a series of immigration audits and investigations. What changed? In early 2025, the local police department signed a 287-week agreement with ICE, which allows officers to act as immigration agents. Since then, over 400 Indian nationals have been questioned or detained during routine checks. A particular concern is the surge in visa fraud investigations. Several small consulting firms based in Irving are being probed for document forgery and labor violations, putting their H-1B employees at risk of deportation. The community is shaken, and while local leaders are trying to mediate with state authorities, Irving's cooperation with federal agents has only increased in the past few months. 9. Atlanta, Georgia. Atlanta is a key hub for international students, particularly from India. Georgia Tech, Emory University, and several smaller colleges attract thousands each year. But in 2025, Indian students here are facing growing hostility and scrutiny. One of the most alarming trends is the targeting of Indian students at airports. Dozens have been detained upon arrival, interrogated about their visa status, course enrollment, and even bank balances. OPT and CPT, optional/curricular practical training, applications are also seeing a spike in rejections, especially when tied to small or unregistered employers. Students are reporting visa delays that extend beyond legal grace periods, landing them in unlawful status without warning. Legal aid organizations in Atlanta are now overwhelmed, with dozens of Indian students seeking help every week. Some have had to return to India despite being mid-semester, while others are caught in limbo awaiting court hearings. 8. Jersey City, New Jersey. Jersey City, home to one of the densest Indian populations in the US, is now facing a wave of immigration scrutiny. Known for its strong community networks and large number of South Asian grocery stores, temples, and schools, it's a place where many Indians have found comfort and cultural familiarity. But in 2025, this comfort is under threat. ICE has launched a series of large-scale audits in Jersey City, specifically targeting fake residential addresses and alleged cases of marriage fraud. Investigations have revealed instances where multiple immigrants claim to live at the same address, raising red flags about fraudulent documentation used for visa extensions or green card applications. Some couples are now under investigation, with allegations that certain marriages were arranged purely for immigration benefits. These cases have led to deportations and revocations of approved applications. For a community that once felt untouchable due to its size and influence, the situation. 7. Fremont, California. Fremont is often referred to as Little India, with thriving Indian businesses, schools, and cultural centers. It's a popular place for Indian families and professionals alike, but this sanctuary is now under the radar of federal immigration authorities. In 2025, Fremont has seen a sharp rise in notices of removal issued to Indian nationals. Immigration attorneys have reported increasing cases of visa overstays and document falsifications, particularly in the student and tourist visa categories. Local consulting companies are also being audited, accused of facilitating unauthorized employment. Many immigrants caught up in this web weren't even aware they were violating the law. Some were misled by shady agents or unlicensed immigration consultants. 6. Chicago, Illinois. Chicago has long been a hub for Indian immigrants, especially students and working families. But recent deportations have left the Desi community in shock. In 2025, several Indian families have been deported after minor legal infractions, things as small as traffic violations or lapses in paperwork renewal. Authorities are now paying close attention to unrenewed work permits, especially in the aftermath of layoffs. The fear is real. Indian families are attending community meetings and seeking legal advice in droves. Chicago's Indian associations have begun conducting Know Your Rights workshops to prepare immigrants for unexpected encounters with ICE. 5. Phoenix, Arizona. As a border state, Arizona has historically had a tough stance on immigration. And now, Phoenix is becoming a hotspot for enforcement against Indian nationals. There are growing reports of ICE detaining individuals at Indian grocery stores, temples, and community events, locations once considered safe. The state's strict policies on undocumented immigrants have paved the way for on-the-spot ID checks, especially for those who appear foreign. Indian business owners in Phoenix have also come under scrutiny, with some being fined or shut down due to employment verification failures. 4. Charlotte, North Carolina. Charlotte, once praised for its southern hospitality, is now seeing a different side of immigration enforcement. In 2025, Indian students and spouses in Charlotte have reported surprise visits from immigration officials, sometimes at colleges, libraries, or even residential addresses. Authorities are checking documents, visa status, and even financial records. The trigger? A statewide crackdown on visa fraud and overstays, especially among those with F2, dependent, and M1, vocational training, visas. Local colleges have been asked to verify enrollment data and report inconsistencies, catching many off guard. 3. Indianapolis, Indiana. In an unexpected development, Indianapolis has witnessed a sudden spike in deportation orders involving Indian nationals, especially those from Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities in India. These are often young students who enrolled in lesser-known colleges that are now being flagged as visa mills, institutions accused of operating primarily to issue I-20 forms without providing real education. Indian students caught in this trap are being marked as out of status, and many are being placed into removal proceedings. With little time to respond, some have left voluntarily, while others are fighting long-shot legal battles to remain. 2. Miami, Florida. In 2025, Miami International Airport has become a nerve center for aggressive immigration checks, especially targeting Indian nationals on tourist visas. There's been a notable spike in airport interrogations, where individuals are asked detailed questions about their travel plans, financial means, and intent to return. Tourists who can't present strong evidence of return, like return tickets, home country ties, or job obligations, are being denied entry or even detained. These interrogations have led to over 300 denied entries or expedited removals, many of which involved first-time Indian travelers hoping to visit family or attend events. Travel agents and tour operators are now advising clients to carry extensive documentation. 1. Houston, Texas. At the top of the list is Houston, Texas, which now holds the record for the highest number of Indian deportation cases in 2025. Known for its vibrant Indian neighborhoods like Hillcroft and Sugarland, Houston has seen an intense crackdown on illegal employment, overstays, and unlicensed immigration consultants. DC-owned businesses are under federal investigation for hiring undocumented workers or failing to maintain proper records for visa employees. ICE has conducted multiple workplace raids, leading to arrests and deportation orders. Families are torn apart. Parents detained while kids remain in school. Community leaders have described the situation as a quiet storm, devastating but underreported. Common threats and government response. Across all 11 cities, several clear patterns have emerged. The individuals most affected are international students, often unaware of the intricacies of maintaining legal status; H-1B and L-1 visa holders, especially those who've lost jobs and couldn't find sponsors in time; tourist visa holders, misunderstanding travel conditions or lacking proof of return; undocumented overstays, those who stayed past visa expiry, knowingly or unknowingly. The core issue: legal unawareness. Many Indian immigrants, especially first-timers or those from rural parts of India, are unaware of how fragile their legal status can be. A small mistake like forgetting to update an address, not maintaining full-time enrollment, or failing to file for extension on time can trigger deportation orders. Indian government's role. The Ministry of External Affairs, MEA, and Indian consulates in major U.S. cities have stepped in. Emergency helplines have been set up for detained nationals. Legal assistance panels are working pro bono for vulnerable individuals. Indian missions have reported a 350% increase in deportation-related queries in Q1 of 2025. Moreover, the Indian government is now in diplomatic talks with U.S. counterparts, pushing for clearer communication and humane processes in handling immigration issues. Lawyers and advocacy groups speak. Leading immigration attorneys describe the situation as unprecedented. One lawyer from New York says, "We're seeing students penalized for errors made by their universities or sponsors. They deserve due process, not instant deportation." Nonprofits like SAALT, South Asian Americans Leading Together, and AILA, American Immigration Lawyers Association, are now calling for policy reforms, including grace periods for visa holders after job loss, simplified appeal processes, protection for whistleblowers caught in fraudulent visa setups. The consensus? This isn't just a legal crisis, it's a humanitarian